So, I was thinking, it's kind of unusual, by the way, for me to prepare things for a seminar. Normally I just turn up and kind of speak, and I'm going to do that today, don't worry, but I felt like I wanted to ground some things so that you have some things to take away on a page, but also so that I made sure that I just covered what I would call the greatest hits of success and failure as a creator. With success comes exposure, and with exposure comes fear. I decided to compile a few of the comments from YouTube that have happened on videos of mine over the years, and just read a few to you. And just to recap, for those of you who aren't sure, I do energy forecasts, I have some channeling videos, I do inspirational messages, not my term, not a fan of terms, but you have to use them. Amazing and accurate. I am excited for the shift that we are moving into. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lee. Always a pleasure to hear you speak, and so very helpful. Thank you, Lee Harris. We love you. My goodness, that was helpful. You are unbelievably spot on. Once again, you're expressing almost verbatim what I've been going through. Thank you so much for this validation. Who the fuck are you? Really? You make some good points, but you talk like you are Jesus or something. Tone down the almighty bullshit of yours and express yourself on a human level, because you are human. Lee seems to me to be a charlatan who makes a profitable business of selling his mumbo-jumbo nonsense. Be careful of this person. You have been warned. This is my favorite. What an absolute bag of arse. That's very English. I really like that one. I'm so glad I went looking for these, because that's imprinted in my mind now. So it's kind of interesting, because I've just read a kind of equal amount of positive and negative. But the negative, I didn't count these, but I would honestly say the negative is probably, Marty, 1%, less than 1% maybe. What's interesting is when I first started doing this, and I put my first public channeling videos on YouTube, which again I was talked into. There's a theme here. I'm often talked into things, and then I sometimes need a little push. I was horrified when I saw the first negative comment, and it went right into my heart and my body. And I was traumatized by it, because it was very personal and very harsh. And I remember when my brother first saw a negative comment about me on YouTube, I was with him, and he was very triggered, because it's his brother, and his little brother, and I was like, it's okay, it's what happens, it's okay, because I at that point was fine. But what's very interesting to me is we really are talking about a small percentage. And there is a tendency we have to fear the negative in a far bigger way than the negative is reality. It's part of the programming. So I remember when I did my very first evenings in Brighton, I was with Story Waters at the time, and we worked together, and we would do these monthly evenings. And Story was always a lot bolder than I was, which was great for me, because he would kind of, lead us places, which was brilliant, and I needed that. And I remember I started doing what now are the energy forecasts. So, I once a month turn on a video camera and start talking and give a kind of intuitive read on what's going on and what we've just walked through and what's coming. But back in 2007, I'd never really done this before. I just felt like I could. I'd done some channeling, but I was like, I feel like what I do in sessions when I'm not in channel mode is I just open up and let the words come through. Wonder if I could do that for a group. Maybe there were 16, 17 people there. And all I remember every time we did these monthly evenings was the one man who looked confused as hell by what I was saying. Which is kind of interesting, isn't it? There are 17 people in a room, and I'm looking at faces, and I did not stop on the faces that were smiling at me and nodding their head. and going, oh yeah, thanks, that helps. Your words are helping me understand. I didn't stop on those people. Oh no. I was very, very, very interested in the man who looked confused as hell and was sitting there going, and I would sit there and talk, terrified, kind of going, oh God, I'm really taking all my clothes off here again. But I was fixed on this man, and about 5 months into our evenings, this man came up to me and kind of said at the end, he said, hi, he said, I just want to say, he said, it's very powerful what you do. He said, it affects me very deeply every month. It's probably my favorite part of the evening. Yeah. So I saw two truths there. I saw my own fear and nervousness that this man was helping me project onto someone else, because this man was just representative of something in me I was scared of. But I also saw how a frowning face doesn't necessarily mean they're not getting something from it, because after he'd thanked me, he was going, yeah. And I was like, oh, he just frowns. It's just what he does, you know? If you are afraid of the judgment of others, ask yourself what someone could say that would most trigger you, and then work with that in advance. So think about that for a second for yourselves. What would most trigger you? What's the thing that could trigger you the most? If you created something and put it in front of a friend, and again, I'm not just talking about creating a product or art, I'm talking about you cook a meal for someone, creation. And you put it in front, what would be the thing that would most trigger you, the judgment of other people? And now ask yourself, does it have a historic root? Can you trace it back? Oh, yeah, my mum always criticized my cooking. So I'm most afraid that my husband would say what she used to say, because when she did it, the energy I absorbed wasn't very nice. She was very harsh, and I was open, and I was giving her something, and she was harsh. Kind of a smaller version of what we just saw here with the kid and the dad. So you can work with that in advance, because you can identify what your big trigger points are. And that can be very useful to creating, because you can go, oh, okay, I know that I'm triggered by this, so I know that as I cook this food, I'm going to walk into my fear that he's going to say this food doesn't taste good. If you know that's going to come up, you won't stop walking into it. If you don't really make it conscious, if it's kind of an unconscious thing, you'll go, maybe we'll get takeout. We'll get takeout. You don't really want takeout. You know that you want to cook, and you know that you're good at cooking, and you know that your energy will infuse that food, but somewhere someone stopped you. Good. Welcome. It is interesting from our perspective to see the line of lights inside you that you would refer to as chakras. Understand that the root, the base chakra, is the one that fires and builds everything inside you as a creator. So if ever you are in conflict, you are caught somewhere between heart and third eye. Your communication chakra, your throat, needs to express something. Your heart feels conflicted, for it is afraid to open and create what it is that your open heart would create because of past experiences or fears of what might happen. The fears will have thoughts going on in the mind, circulating around but not through the third eye. The third eye is impenetrable in that sense, but all around this beautiful third eye of yours, this crystal ball that sees so much that is ahead and above you, there are all of these thoughts designed to cover up that third eye of yours, keep it a secret. Why do you think you are so scared to speak about being intuitive or psychic on your planet? For most people still have the crust of thoughts around their own third eye, and they are keeping it there for safety reasons. The perception it is not safe to boldly go with this third eye where others do not dare to. So know, if you are a creator in conflict, you need to reactivate your base. You need to reactivate the root of you. The simple exercise is sitting cross-legged, or if you prefer to have your knees up, on the floor. If you can get to the ground floor in your house, all the better, for the closer you get to the ground of the earth, the closer this base remembers that you are an alive being walking on the planet. It is a simple and quick exercise to help your base ground and refuel when too many thoughts or too many feelings are dominating or imprisoning you. So sit down on the ground, on the floor. Breathe. Allow the release to happen. If you need something stronger than that, physical exercise is going to be your best option. Even fast walking, or walking that is fast by your standards, is going to be enough to get this base moving and fired up. And whenever your base is fired up and alive and healthy, the heart and mind run into less conflict. For there is an energy tunnel that goes all the way down and through your body and system, and that is fed and fueled by the fire in your root.